Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. We are Group C from Class C, and today in this video we will talk about this week lesson in Phonetics and Phonology, which is stress in complex words. My name is Larasati Nur Faizah, and I will talk about complex words. Firstly, we will talk about the definition of complex word. What is complex word? In English grammar and morphology, a complex word is a word made up of two or more morphemes. Contrast with monomorphemic words. Next, a complex word may consist of one, a stem or a base or a root, and one or more affixes. For example, like in the word quicker. Or second, more than one root in a compound. For example, like in the word blackbird. And the presence of affixes affect the stress placement. And next, Anisah will talk about affixes and stress, as well as how suffix affect stress placement.
Alright, I'm Anisah Nur Hidayati, and now I will talk about affixes and stress. Affix is a letter or group of letters which are added to the beginning or end of a word to make a new word. Like it is said before, the presence of affixes affect the stress placement. So there are three ways in which an affix can affect the placement of stress in a word. The first one, the stress moves to the affix. For example, in a word personality, so the stem is person and suffix ld. So in the word personality, the stress moved from per in a person to the syllable ne in personality. The other example is in the word Cantonese. The stem is Canton plus suffix is, so the word Cantonese, the stress moved from can in Canton to Cantonese, niece in the word Cantonese. Next, the stress remains on the stem and on the same syllable. For example, in word unpleasant, un as a prefix and the stem is pleasant, so the stress remains on the ple. It is not changed. The other example is in the word recreate. The word is from the prefix re and the stem create. So the stress remains on 8. Create and recreate. The stress remains on 8. The last one is the stress remains on stem but moves to a different syllable. For example, in a word magnetic, the stem is magnet. The stress in the first syllable plus suffix ik. So the word magnetic, the stress moved from the first syllable to the second syllable, make to net. Next, we will look at how suffix affects stress placement. Some English suffixes affect stress placement in different ways. First, suffixes carrying primary stress themselves. So, primary stress on the suffix and the secondary stress on the stem. If the stem consists of more than one syllable, the addition of a suffix creates a secondary stress in the stem but never on the last syllable. Example: refuge plus suffix e, so the word became refugee. The primary stress is on G and the secondary stress is on ref. The next example is Japanese. In a word Japan, the stress is on the second syllable, then plus suffix is, the word become Japanese. The primary stress is on knees, while the secondary stress is on jet, the first syllable. So the stress is moved to the suffixes. Second, primary stress remains on the stem. So suffixes that do not affect stress placement. The examples are wonder plus suffix ful became wonderful. The stress remains on the one, on the syllable one. The other example is white plus suffix n become whiten. The stress remains on y. The third one is primary stress moves from one syllable to another but still on the stem. Examples are prohibition. So the stem is prohibit plus suffix ion. The word became prohibition. The stress moved from hip to piece. The next example is perfection. The stem is perfect plus suffix ion became perfection. So the stress moved from per to fect. From the first syllable to the second syllable in the stem. And this is the list of the suffixes. For the more detail of the suffixes, you can read in the book in page 83 until 84. And the next lesson will be explained by Hijaz.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Hijaz Faqih Sepyawan. I'm from English Education Study Program 2019. My student number is 009, and in this occasion, I will explain about this, how prefix affects stress placement. The effect of prefix on stress placement follows the regular rules for stress placement for polysyllabic words without prefix. Stress in words with prefixes is governed by the same rules as those for words without prefixes. That is because the effect of prefixes on stress do not have the comparative regularity, independence, and predictability of suffixes, and there is no prefix of one or two syllables that always carries primary stress. Okay, as we can see in this stress placement in compound words, the first is noun plus noun word, or use this noun. The stress syllable is on the first syllable. As you can see in the word sunrise, there's a small point that means it is the stress symbol, and then after that we can just pronounce the word sunrise. And then the next example is adjective plus past participle et. Primary stress is on the second word. Secondary stress is on the first word. Uh, Heavy-handed, as we can see in the example of the word. The the point of the third syllable is on the second syllable, and then the next example is number noun. For example, uh, second class. Uh, Second class. The small symbol that before the word class indicates the stress syllable. The primary stress is on the second word. Secondary stress is on the first word. Okay, we can see the secondary stress on the first word by seeing the small dot or small symbol of the lower spot, and then any word class, any word class. The combination serves as adverb. The primary stress is placed on the second word. The secondary stress on the first word. For example, downstream, and then the adverb word plus any word class. The combination serves as verbs. The primary stress is placed on the second word, the secondary stress on the first word. For example, in the word downgrade, the primary stress is placed on the second word. As we can see, is the just before the word grade, we can see a small symbol on the upper in the top of the word. It indicates the primary stress. Meanwhile, just before the word down, you can see a small symbol down. It means that is the secondary stress. And thank you. For the next page, will be explained by Rio Reynaldi. For Rio Reynaldi, time is yours. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Rio Reynaldi Wijaya, and my student number is 1920 2241084. And I'm continuing with Mr. Hijaz' presentation about stress in complex word. Okay, let's go on. So now is exception. The first thing is stress placement doesn't always follow rules. When it does, it follows the rule that have been previously explained. When it doesn't, it's because of the following reason. The first reason is the stress placement changes according to the environment surrounding the word, like the word that comes before or after that word. For example, is about bad-tempered. The word bad-tempered. The stress placement will change if you put a word before or after it. Well, for this is I will put one word behind it. Just consider like, for example, just teacher. So the stress will change, not a bad tempered teacher, but a bad tempered teacher. So the stress will change from tempered to the teacher, from temp to the teach. Okay, so go on. The second one is the stress placement changes according to the speaker's preference. So for this, it's like we can say it's similar like accent because and okay. So the example for this is the word controversy. There's two different ways to say the word controversy. The first one is controversy. The second one is controversy. So the stress placement change. The first one at the first syllable, the controversy, and the second one is at the second syllable, controversy. So the first one at con and the second one at tro. Okay, so controversy, controversy. Okay, next is word class pair. The term word class pair refers to two words with identical spelling but different stress placement. For example, when you say abstract, when you say abstract as a adjective or noun, the stress is placed at the first syllable, at the a. So it will say like abstract. But when you say the word abstract as a verb, the stress is placed at the second syllable, so it will come with like abstract. So okay, we can see the difference. As a noun, abstract. As a verb, abstract. The other example for this is conduct. The word conduct. When you say as a noun, you might the stress is placed at the first syllable, conduct. But when you say as a verb, the stress is placed also at the second syllable. So it will say like conduct, conduct, conduct. Okay, that's the difference. And then the changes, the change in stress placement is affected by the word class. And also there is the rules. If the word class is verb, you should place the stress on the second syllable. But if the word class is either noun or adjective, the place of stress is at the first syllable. Okay, like I said before for the at the example, abstract as a noun or adjective, the stress is at the first syllable, ab. But uh, as a verb, as a verb, the stress placed at the second syllable, str. Also with conduct, con and duck, conduct. As a noun, the stress at the first syllable, conduct, conduct. As a verb, the stress is at second syllable, conduct. Uh, next. Okay, I think that's all for me and my group. Thank you very much for your attention and see you again next time. Thank you.